When the road gets dark and you can no longer see, just let my love throw a spark, baby, and have a little faith in me. And when the tears you cry are all you can believe, just give these loving arms a try, baby, and have a little faith in me. 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 Have a little faith in
That's Rosie
me.
down there, isn't it?
No, that's Rosie.
Right, that's Rosie.
When your secret heart cannot speak so easily, come here, darling, from a whispered star. Have a little faith in me. And when your back's against the wall, just turn around and you will see. I will catch you fall, baby. Just have a little faith in me. 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 Well, I've been loving you for so long, girl, expecting nothing in return, just for you to have a little faith in me. You see, time is our friend, 'cause for us there is no end. All you gotta do is have a little faith in me. I said, I will hold you up, I will hold you up. Your love give me strength enough, so have a little faith in me. All you gotta do, baby, all you got to do is just have a little faith in me.
Hi, I'm Julie Fraser. You know, many brilliant ideas start with a fleeting thought, and really that's all the Great Clydesdale migration might have been, but for two people. Because they took that fleeting thought to ride 12 heavy horses, all of them Clydesdales but for one shire, all the way from the Isle of Skye to the south of Cumbria, and they turned it into a reality. Many people said it was just a crazy dream, but then they didn't know Tim Ankrum and Danny Rose.
Right.
But
Is this the difficult bit? There's a bridge here that's difficult or something, is it?
no, apparently the horses will be able to get over that okay. Now this bit here, where the track goes, apparently there's a ruin up there and they're not keen for horses to use that piece of the route. But if you come around here, we go down to Bridge of Orkney.
Yeah, it's just a minor road anyway.
Yeah.
So that
Shouldn't be a problem at all.
No.
It's quite a short leg. It's one of the legs where I think we might end up doing, say, going for a bareback truck. Nice little forestry track up here.
Mm-hmm.
Just go for a blast up there, it'll be fun. Coming over from Benmore, there's a track in and then it disappears, but there's a footpath. And then you come over this Bilach.
Bialach, that is.
Skye had been home to the West Highland Heavy Horse Centre, but as much as they loved the island, Tim and Danny knew it wasn't the right place for their business or for their horses. For the sake of their future, they had to move, and they found their own unique way of doing it.
And we follow this road up to track, and then it comes into Balquidder. And, oh, chat, oh, you're moving, oh, that'd be a shame, and you're going down to Cumbria, oh, how are you going to get the horses there? And I said, oh, we're going to probably box them there, you know, but gosh, when we took the horses to Blair, it cost £1,500 just to get 8 to Perth. I said, it would cost a fortune, might as well walk them there, it'd be cheaper. I looked across the table at Tim and I went, that's an idea. And from there, it grew. And that very night, we were so excited, weren't we? We phoned Robert. About 11 o'clock at night, I was phoning Robert, we've had this brilliant idea. And he was so fired up as well that it just took off.
To the local petrol station first, just for a bit of fun. These environmentally friendly animals definitely don't need any kind of fossil fuel to keep them going. Then down to a little strip of beach nearby to give horses and riders a chance to get to know one another. A wet and miserable day, it was actually the tail end of a hurricane. So, for anyone believing in omens, not the most promising of starts. The ride had been organised as a series of 3- and 4-day legs. We were strangers when we met, from a variety of backgrounds, and from several different countries. Yet we had much in common. I think we all felt like pioneers, setting off on a journey the like of which no one had made for a very long time, if ever. Clearly, we all found the idea of riding the big horses irresistible. Time for a quick sandwich at the hotel where the riders would also be staying on that first night. The afternoon saw us leave the roads and take to forest tracks, shedding our wet weather gear and heavy jackets as the rain died away and the sun came out. Home for the horses was a clearing in the forest roped off by electric fencing. The views were spectacular and the history fascinating, but the horses were far more interested in the grass. Day 2 dawned, and with some tricky riding ahead of us, some words of advice from Annie.
Today's quite a tough day in terms of terrain, so we need you to ride sensibly.
By that I mean don't be nervous. The horses are very, very sure-footed, but it might be quite muddy, it might be quite slippery, and you might need to use really just savvy and common sense, okay? Easy does it. Easy does it, clever boy.
We served her a couple of months.
Oh, okay. You don't know for sure if she's done
And so to the bit of the day which had been giving several of the riders more than a few nervous tremors, getting the horses across to the mainland on a very small car ferry. Not surprisingly, the horses were a little perplexed by this unaccustomed mode of transport, and they could be forgiven for looking at it somewhat askance. But after just the slightest of hesitations, they walked on without much of a fuss. Tommy decided the best policy was just not to look. But really, they all remained remarkably relaxed the whole way across, even though the water was swirling just a few feet away. For the riders, especially those of us not already familiar with the breed, it showed the true mettle of the Clydesdales. Big, generous horses, prepared to get on with the job without a lot of fuss and bother. In the old days, cattle would be made to swim across here, each with a rope tied from its horn to its tail, then to the horn of the cow behind.
It was pretty new for us, you know, they were quite frightening actually. They were bigger than I thought they would be, but they were. It was okay. Yeah, they went on pretty well. I think one of them was a wee bit nervous, but it went well. It was quite interesting. It's the first off for us.
Back on dry land, one of the first things we did to celebrate our successful ferry crossing was to go for a paddle in the sea. And as the horses settled into their field for the night, we were introduced to the delights of a very special hip flask.
I gotta say, that's pretty classy, Gary, for a guy with a coonskin cap. I would have thought you'd have been out in the creek with the still.
Would you like some lubrication, Gary?
Pack of
This
three.
stuff is pretty good.
Is that I know. I don't know.
Is that an nice sauce? My neighbour's nephew has an antique auction, and I must ask you
to a very good
like that.
migration.
So when were they sort of in vogue?
Wow.
But if things had been going well for the riders, all was running far from smooth for the backup crew.
Basically, we were coming down to the ferry to catch up with the horses, and John, in his kindness, decided that he'd try and get slightly off the road for tourists that couldn't reverse. It happens quite a lot here. People learn to drive in a city. They never really have to master the art of mirrors. The guy couldn't reverse, so John tried to shuffle the lorry off the road. Now, there's a lot of weight in that lorry, and when the wheels on the left side went off the tarmac, it's a very boggy, peaty soil, and it's sunk. And in his attempt to get out, he's actually dug the lorry in.
And also, Tim has had a bit of an accident. That's
Tim
not
is-
very sympathetic.
No, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh no, oh my poor man. No, I'm laughing because it's actually his own fault. He let a mare go and realised that the tail bandage was still on her and went to take it off. And she just reacted by lifting her back legs up. A lot of our horses wouldn't, but she did. It happens. But he got a real crack on the chin, so we've done the whole dee-dee-nee-nee, emergency services, quick, quick. And he's been sitting there going, oh yes, attention.
Well, those problems had to be left behind the following day as Annie led us, not into the wilderness perhaps, but certainly well off anything remotely resembling a beaten track. We left the little village of Glenelg far behind as we climbed steadily upward, heading for Kinlochhuern. It was a tough walk and there was no defined path to follow, so as the going got steeper, we got off and led the horses, though maybe it would be more accurate to say that they led us. It was my first ever experience of hill walking, so to do it with a Clydesdale at my side made the experience all the more special. And the feeling of triumph we all had as we reached the top of what we claimed as Mount Clydesdale was sweet indeed. Later we thoroughly enjoyed a well-deserved break in a sunlit clearing, letting the horses roam free as we relaxed.
It's got 30 minutes, so you get 60 coding levels. It might make you a bit woo. But if you take one, you get 500 per second or 30 coding, not much less.
Little did we know we still had a hefty trek ahead of us before we reached our destination, the remote and lovely Kinlochhuern.
Hello Jilly, how are you feeling this
I'm
morning?
alright, this is day, what is it, 4, thank you very much, of the Great Clydesdale migration. We're in Kinlochhuern. We had one incredible day getting here yesterday, but we're still on 4 feet and 2 feet as appropriate.
Great.
So we're ready for another good day today.
And do you think today will be as hard as yesterday was?
I'm told not, but I've come swiftly to understand that you don't believe a word Annie tells you. However, it was a fairly easy day, and it took us to the magical, mystical Tom Down, a place where the horses could chill out and enjoy their first much-deserved rest day. But it was also a time for farewells, as the first group of riders took their leave. Our second group included the youngest rider to be taking part, 12-year-old Rachel. Along with the other newcomers, she listened intently as Annie explained what would be happening over the next few days. Then it was time to get on board and to don the bright yellow tabards which were always deemed essential if any roadwork lay ahead. We'd been told we'd be crossing a tricky bridge. No, not this one. This one. And if the clattering wasn't enough to contend with, there was another unexpected problem at the far end of the bridge, as Benny, our scout dog, discovered first.
Joys of big feet.
Safely over and on into the forest for another grand day's riding, but a new problem when we reached Loch Laggan and the horses field for the night. Only to discover there wasn't one. Now, it's not the easiest thing in the world to suddenly conjure up accommodation for a dozen horses, but a few phone calls and earnest conversations with local farmers later, the Clydesdales worked their usual magic and a field was found.
We can't go into the pedestrian area, but we can ride around Fort William if we want to. Just have a trundle around. But what we'll end up doing is finishing at a reasonable hour tonight, which would actually be quite pleasant.
The migration steered clear of roadwork wherever possible, heading off into the hills or along old drove roads wherever we could. Along the way, Scotland threw some of her worst weather at us.
Wow! Wow!
But she also revealed some of her most beautiful sights, sights that few get to see. This was on our way from Spion Bridge, taking us through the Great Glen, which actually splits the Scottish mainland right the way from Inverness to Fort William, and affording us views of 3 freshwater lochs, Laggan, Linney and Oich. Funny to think that this incredible place has come about as the result of a huge geological fault.
Here come the horses on the main road through Fort William, holding up the traffic, but nobody seems too bothered. Wherever we go, people love these horses and feel happy to make room for them generally.
No way to avoid roadwork the following morning as we rode out of Fort William, but although the traffic was quite heavy, the drivers were considerate and the horses coped as though they'd been on busy roads all their lives. That day saw us going onto the West Highland Way, a route full of interest and quite a bloody history.
Okay, the pursuit of the Campbells in the Battle of Inverlochy. The Battle of Inverlochy was a decisive victory for Montrose's royalist army over the Covenanted forces of Argyll. The location of the battle is 1 mile north of Fort William, close by the ruins of old Inverlochy Castle. Now, we rode through old Inverlochy yesterday.
Yeah.
And it said, it's basically, Dear Mid Campbell of Inverorm, undone from the blows of the MacDonald swords, my kinsfolk now help me flee from Lochaber. Today, this 2nd day of February 1645, as the sun rose in the sky, Montrose with his Highlanders and Alistair MacCulloch with his Irishmen attacked and destroyed our army. Poor Auchinbreck, our commander, lies slain on the field of battle. The Lochie River now runs red with the blood of Argyll's finest.
The day had started out in bright sunshine at Fort William, but finished in heavy rain at Kinlochleven. Fortunately, we had another rest day there, time to get ourselves and the tack dried out, and time to enjoy some of the town's glorious views.
It's a lovely day for the ride. We're going over the Devil's Staircase today.
And how's that going to be?
Rocky, steep,
Yeah.
entertaining.
Challenging?
Possibly quite challenging, but having seen what they did over the Bielach from Glenelg to Kinloch, I don't think we're too concerned. The clients are aware they might have to get off and lead on this day. It'll be quite a mountainous one, but it'll be quite beautiful too.
See you later, guys.
And so we set off to climb high into the hills, in the rain once again as we left Kinloch leaving behind us, and with thoughts of the awesome sounding Devil's Staircase ahead of us. Would our doughty Clydesdales finally have met their match? Well, Max was clearly up for the challenge, so much so that he didn't even want to waste time having lunch, but thought he'd just set off by himself to scout the way for the rest of us.
Oh, you getting stuck? I don't know if I got that in there.
No? Keep on.
The Devil's Staircase was apparently given its name by soldiers engaged in building military roads for General Wade back in the early 1700s, after George I decided he wanted to quell any danger of an uprising in the Highlands. In 9 years under his command, 250 miles of road and 40 bridges were constructed. Well, the staircase may have been a devil to build, but it gave us no problem.
And how did they cope on the Devil's Staircase today?
Excellent, not a problem at all.
Very sure-footed?
Yeah, no problem, they're very, very sure-footed, no slippages really, nothing to worry about.
Excellent. How was the scenery up there?
Magnificent. Coming over the Bialach from Kinlochleven and seeing the Buccleuch Moor there right in front of us was a beautiful sight.
Well, this is day 2 of leg 3. Last night we stayed at King's House Hotel in Glencoe after another amazing day of coming through fantastic scenery way up high. That's over there, you'll see Buccleuch Moor, which known as the Great Shepherd. Climbing up there was quite interesting, or towards that was quite interesting, very stony, very rocky. And then we had to come down a thing called the Devil's Staircase on the other side, which really sounded very intimidating. But actually after some of the adventures that we've had so far, didn't prove to be too difficult at all and was very, very nice. And we've been on, so we're on the West Highland Way. We're on the West Highland Way most of today as well, going across Ranach Moor. The weather is a little bit dodgy at the moment, but if it clears, once again we'll get some fabulous scenery, so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Fantastic. I've actually started to relax. The initial stress of leg 1, with all its vehicular behind-the-scenes problems, seems to have relaxed. We as a team are getting into a system and it's starting to gel and work, and I'm starting to actually enjoy it as well as just stressing about it. It's just been fantastic. The scenery, even the weather hasn't been unkind. The last couple of days have been a bit miserable, but nothing really dramatically gross. So it's been brilliant. The horses are actually looking better for being on better grass. And so far, so good.
So this is another first, crossing a railway line on a horse. This expedition has been full of firsts. But the horses just literally seem to take it all in their stride. Quite incredible beasties. Let's let Major see where he's going. There, a boy. Good lad, no problem. living in harmony. We haven't caused too many stampedes, or maybe we just have. But they are an amazing sight. They look so wonderful in this glen. Look at the size of those horns as well. They are serious horns. Just stay there, guys. Just watch. So beautiful. Yeah, I know. I wonder why it is that they don't dehorn Highlands. They dehorn just about everything else. Not show all of it though, would they? They just seem to. Oh, fun under low-hanging branches is not a good idea in a gallop. Whoa, fantastic. That was great. Good boy. We did have to go on the road for a little while back there, but the horses were fine with that. And the drivers, most of them, were very considerate. Once again, we're riding through some beautiful countryside, totally different to the sort of stuff that we've seen over the last few days. It's amazing just how much variety there is in this country. Just beautiful. Maybe a small country, but boy, it's got plenty of scenery in it. We've been so lucky to see so much of it, and I don't think there's a better way to see it than from the back of a Clydesdale.
Lunch that day was at the Green Welly stop in Tyndrum, a popular family-run establishment, but probably fair to say not often frequented by Clydesdales.
Major, hang on.
Our journey was nothing if not full of surprises, and it was certainly a surprise to come across an Indian trading post in the heart of such very Scottish countryside. The discovery had a strange effect on some of our riders, to the great amusement of a man working on a nearby rooftop.
And the horses dance!
From Indian trading posts to holy ground, our expedition took us past what little remains of the former priory built in the memory of St. Fillan, a man so good he once made a wolf repent after killing an ox. We were on the home stretch to Crianlarich then, a particularly beautiful area. Not the shortest route we could have taken, but no one would willingly have missed this lovely ride. Mounting up at the start of leg 4 and disappointment for Tim with an unavoidable change of route.
Slight disappointment that we can't do the Benmore track. I was looking forward to that, but it's just a little bit too much with clients on board, maybe a couple of horses, but we've decided to do an alternative route which takes us unfortunately along about 7 miles of main road before we can cut off and do some really enjoyable hill riding. The weather's not too bad. I'm hoping the visibility is going to stay good because we are going quite high on that route. Should be a lot of fun up there, a lot of nice views if we've got the weather.
Fraser had the right idea, fuelling up in readiness for the ride ahead, which turned out to be another highly adventurous one, and found us, if not lost, then certainly a little displaced and perhaps a little disorientated as well. It was the day we dubbed Clydesdale's in the Mist.
We did startle a bit at John's War Dance, I guess it was the day before. I've been wearing kilts for years for Renaissance Festival, and he wears one of those that he sewed it himself and then you round and around it. And he was always kidding about, you know, how they went regimental.
You could if you want.
After a long climb, with the mist becoming ever thicker and the threat of darkness not too far away, we found our way barred by a deer fence. Well, needs must when the devil drives, as they say, so the fence had to be dealt with. But it was reinstated before we left. That night we felt we deserved a special treat, and we got it at the very hospitable Lochern Head Hotel, where we wined and dined in style.
This is day 2 of leg 4. Just getting everything ready in the morning. We stayed in Lochern Head last night, but this is Balquidder. We've had really nice hospitality here. Very nice lady who's brought us coffee and scones.
Anyone else want tea rather than coffee?
What a wonderful lady we have here. Good morning, Fiona.
Good morning.
You've put us up here and had our horses grazing on your land. How do you feel about the Great Clydesdale migration?
I think it's been exhausted, probably. I'm just sorry to see you go south, I suppose, leaving Scotland, but no, I think it's brilliant.
Have you ever had this many Clydesdale horses on your land?
Absolutely not. Maybe years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago, when this was an estate, Strombar Estate, I imagined quite a lot of Clydesdales were working around about here, and the stable block was just along the road, the home farm, or whatever. I think it was called the home,
yes,
like the home farm, Strombar. But no, not for a long time.
So this is like a little bit of history come to visit.
I think it's brilliant. As a scone connoisseur, I have to tell you that at this time in the morning, after a night like that...
Anyone else want some coffee?
No, absolutely not.
There is...
Well breakfasted and feeling at one with the world, we set off from Balquhidder, heading for Callander. But as the riders disappeared into the distance, it was only fitting that John should pay a visit to the resting place of one of the area's most famous, or perhaps that should be infamous, sons.
This is the grave of Balquhidder's most famous resident, the well-known Rob Roy of popular legend, made famous of course by Sir Walter Scott and later Liam Neeson. We can only imagine what he would have made of 12 heavy horses riding through his territory, because he was, of course, a famous rustler of livestock. It would have been like all his Christmases had come earlier, I suspect.
It wasn't Christmas we had to celebrate that evening, but a birthday. Tim's birthday, to be precise, though we didn't inquire which one.
Yeah,
We're having our dinner here. But apart from that, we're also gathered to celebrate a momentous day in the Great Clydesdale migration. And we have had many momentous days in the Great Clydesdale migration.
And a few more minutes nights.
Whoa, speak for yourself.
This is the X-rated version.
Today is the birthday of our esteemed leader, Tim. The man who has led us through fire, flood, pestilent plague, uphill, down dale, and lots of mist. We say thank you very much, and many happy returns, and many more of them. Happy birthday, Tim.
What could it be?
I picked it up and put it to one side.
It's just what he always wanted.
That'll be a vast full of flowers to knock over in the caravan.
Jan, you've ridden in various parts of the world, haven't you?
Yeah.
Where else have you been on trail rides?
Italy, France, Spain, Ecuador, Montana, South Africa, Botswana. It's getting embarrassing.
Any reminiscences from previous trail rides that you're hoping not to emulate today?
Well, there aren't any lions near
No,
Jim.
you won't be chased by lions this time.
I was chased by a lion a bit in Botswana, but there aren't any lions or anything else dangerous that I know of near Drimmen. So
Just
yeah,
your husband?
Just my husband, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And he's not too dangerous.
Thankfully, we didn't encounter any lions on the way to Aberfoyle, but we did discover that even our stout-hearted Clydesdales could say no now and again if faced with an obstacle they just didn't like the look of. The Great Clydesdale migration never missed an opportunity along the way to shake a can or rattle a bucket in the name of charity, raising funds for several good causes, including Macmillan Nurses and the Laminitis Trust. People were always generous.
And so we reached the halfway stage of our amazing expedition with plenty of adventures under our belts and more still to come. Here's just a taster of what you can expect in part 2 of the Great Clydesdale Migration.
whole business started originally about Clydesdales being not known as a ridden horse, and they're actually on the Red Breed Survival Trust list of endangered species. So my original idea was to start using them as riding horses to encourage people to see them as riding horses, and of course it's taken off. It's not just us, there's a few other people doing it and making it known. This year alone, the ILPH ran their first ever Ridden Clydesdale Championship. They were qualifying classes around Scotland. How exciting. And they had a final at Blair Castle International Horse Trials. It was just great to be part of that. the start of the ridden Clydesdale. If we do nothing else, that's great, isn't it?
When I look up in the sky, I can feel it when I hear that lonesome highway. So many miles to go before I die. We can never know about tomorrow. Still we have to choose which way to go. You and I are standing at the crossroads. Darling, there is one thing you should know. You're a part of me. I'm a part of you. Wherever we may travel, whatever we go through, whatever time may take away, we cannot change the way we feel today. So hold me close and say you feel it too. You're part of me, I'm part of you, part of you.
Whenever new riders join the migration, Annie and Tim have a little meeting. Annie gets them to fill in a form which details their riding ability, and she also gives them a safety briefing, which is the one time you'll see her with her serious head on, if you can call somebody wearing a hat like that having a serious head. Where have you guys come from to be with us today?
I've come from Glasgow.
Mhm.
Come
Perth.
from Perth. And we've
Excellent.
met in the middle here in Drimmen.
All right.
So looking forward to it.
Very good. So you're going to be here in a support capacity,
I'm
is that
here
correct?
as a support capacity and envious voyeur.
How's Team USA this morning?
Brilliant shape.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at this day. We've actually got something blue up there. Don't know what it is. Haven't seen it before.
Well, you know, occasionally we get this in the UK, but not as much as in Minnesota.
Leg 5 saw us leaving the village of Drimmen near Stirling, heading ultimately for West Linton. We didn't know as we set off in the sunshine on that first day of the leg that we had some dark days to come.
You're turning sharp right after the bridge.
Once again, we were on the West Highland Way for quite a substantial part of the journey.
Steep slopes? No problem.
It's been an extremely nice day, lovely weather, really good company, very pretty scenery, several canters, and great amusement value that Annie had to get off 25 million times to open gates.
Caught on camera, mate.
Oh, sorry, pal.
Okay, Stuart is having a go at fixing the Green Mariah the little bits that I put into a new configuration 3 weeks ago now. So I think I'll just leave him to it, but obviously this is a big part of my story on the Great Clydesdale migration, so I just wanted to document it.
For much of one day, we travelled along the side of the old Fourth Clyde Canal. Once we'd achieved the somewhat tricky manoeuvre of getting the horses through the gates, that is. Started in the late 1700s, this canal took 22 years to build, though for 7 of those years no work was done at all because the builders ran out of money. A triumph of engineering, the canal's definitely scenic in its own way. Unfortunately, leaden grey skies and unrelenting rain meant we could only imagine its real beauty.
Hi, I'm Jackie Gordon from Glasgow, and I'm really excited to be here today.
What do you do, Jackie?
I work for the Scottish Exec as part of a small team supporting the implementation of Scotland's suicide prevention strategy. One of the things I've been involved in is organising this huge conference which I had last week and which went really well, and this was my treat to myself after the conference and has kept me sane for several weeks.
I'm a musician and I teach the flute in a lot of schools around about the kind of Perth and Edinburgh area.
And you were away teaching and learning abroad. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I did a master's degree in Tennessee, in Knoxville, Tennessee, where I had a teaching assistantship where you get to teach a lot of the students while you're doing your performance degree, so it was just fantastic.
I've been keeping in touch with a lot of my Clydesdale friends back home in Australia, and they're currently going through a 6-year drought. So I decided that I would try and seek sponsorship to go on this ride. Not to cover it, but to raise awareness of the drought in Australia, and so hence my t-shirt.
Ah, right, the t-shirt. I won't zoom in on that, but yeah,
you.
It says the Great Clydesdale Drought Relief, a worthy cause.
Yeah.
Here they go, departing for the Falkirk Wheel.
The following day took us to the Falkirk Wheel, a veritable colossus on the landscape and the centrepiece of a millennium project to reconnect the Fourth Clyde Canal with the Union Canal. It cost a cool £85.5 million to build, but it's now one of the area's top tourist attractions. But a dark shadow was cast over the early brilliance of the day, with the realisation that Tim's horse Major was far from well. We were some miles from the assistance of the backup crew, but since colic seemed the most likely cause of Major's discomfort, Tim decided that the best policy would be to keep the horse walking. Eventually, Annie and the others caught up with us, agreed with our diagnosis and did a horse swap. Tim getting on Brutus and Major travelling to the next stop by trailer. It wasn't to be the day's only drama. After travelling along seriously busy roads for several miles, we came to a signposted right-of-way, only to discover it was blocked and there was no way through. faced with the prospect of even busier roads in rush hour, we were extremely grateful to the Good Samaritans at this riding centre, who not only gave us hay for the horses, but also the use of a horse box to get to our next stop. As it happened, we couldn't have found anywhere better than Oatridge College there and then. Scotland's specialist land-based college provided a warm welcome for the two-legged members of the party and a welcome pedicure for the horses.
Welcome back, Ruth.
It also gave the college farriers a valuable opportunity to demonstrate their skills on heavy horses.
We always try to keep the toes back on long-standing Yeah.
Basically, the centres are brand new. It's the new National Equestrian Centre that has funding from Sports Scotland and Scottish Enterprise. It has two ginormous arenas, an 80 metre by 40 metre arena, a 60 metre by 25 metre arena. We also have a 6 furlong gallop, and basically it's to offer equestrian opportunity to everybody within Scotland and help develop Scottish athletes as well.
The BBC caught up with us at Oatridge and chatted to a few of the migration gang. Then they and Carson really earned their keep by lending a hand to load up the latest batch to be delivered by Montgomery Feeds, a Cumbrian-based company which was kindly sponsoring us by providing hard feed for all the horses on the migration. There was also just a little time to see what other members of the media had been making of the great Clydesdale migration.
The one he had us charging up.
It looks tidy, but we don't.
No, that's from the Falkirk Field, isn't it? Is that not when he was lying flat on the ground? Ah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm just about to say, Fraser, will you get her reins? Yeah. I sort of stand on to them. Yeah.
Next day saw us heading for the hills, the Pentland Hills to be precise, but first there was the small matter of a tricky gate to negotiate. Too much even for the combined might of John, Tim and Stuart, but fortunately there was another way through, further along the road.
Daylight has found me here again. You can ask me anything, but where I've been, things that used to matter seem so small. When you're looking for a soft place to fall, don't misunderstand me, baby, please. I didn't mean to bring back memories. You should know the reason why I called. I was looking for a soft place to fall.
And so to Windy Gowl, home to the famous Pentland Hills Icelandics. They may be pony in size, but they're definitely horse in stature. It may have been a meeting of little and large, but there was clearly respect on both sides.
Looking out your window after dawn, maybe when you wake up I'll be gone. You're the one who taught me after all how to find a soft place to fall. You're the one who taught me after all how to find a soft place to fall.
That day took us into the Borders and to a farm that won our hearts.
This is Lyne Farm, where we have stayed for the first night of leg 6, and I can honestly say without reservation it's one of the most beautiful places I have visited in my entire life, anywhere in the world. It's absolutely glorious here and we've all fallen in love with it. So I'm going to show you why. I'm going to take some shots of the marvellous scenery around here. Lyne Farm, looking out across the valley. You've just joined us today. Where have you come from?
I've come from St Andrews.
Oh, hello down there. St Andrews, and what's your name?
Jane.
Jane. How'd you find out about all this, Jane?
I knew Tim and Annie before, and when I was up in Skye with work, I went riding.
Few things can capture the spirit of the Borders better than the River Tweed. With its source in the southern uplands and its tail end in England, this magnificent salmon-rich river runs for just short of 100 miles, and it was very special for us to walk through its swirling waters.
This is like good cross country. We should blast out of here and gallop up there. Yay!
If anywhere in Britain can truly lay claim to being horse country, it's certainly the Borders. Naturally blessed with glorious scenery, the area also has a well laid out and maintained network of horse-friendly routes, not least being the Tweed Trails.
When the west wind moves upon the fields of barley, you'll forget the sun in his jealous sky as we walk in fields of gold. So she took her love for to gaze a while upon the fields of barley. In his arms she fell as her hair came down among the fields of gold. Will you stay with me? Will you be my love among the fields of barley? We'll forget the sun in his jealous sky as we lie in fields of gold.
Our second day in the borders and our second crossing of the River Tweed, this time at Innerleithen.
See the west wind move like a lover's soul upon the fields of barley. Feel her body rise when you kiss her mouth among the fields of gold. I never made promises lightly, and there have been some that I've broken. I swear in the days still left, we walk in fields of gold. We walk in fields of gold. Many years have passed since those summer days among the fields of barley. See the children.
That day saw the mist descend on us as we crossed the historic Minch Moor. But if the gloom made it less than hospitable, the village of Yarrowford more than made up for it. Our horses were given the run of a field, while we were welcomed into the village hall for tea and biscuits.
This afternoon we have a demonstration.
This is the first minutes, the first of tea and cake.
It is. Yeah. This is our most sophisticated stock for life.
Back into the mist and a cast shoe for Tim to deal with. No problem for a man who carries a lot more than just a hoof pick in his saddlebags.
Not quite, no.
The Borders has been the birthplace of many adventurous spirits, not least poet and traveller Will Ogilvie, who's remembered with a special statue and plaque on the road to Roberton.
Let oil nor steam nor wings of dream deprive us of our own. The wide world for a kingdom and the saddle for a throne.
No matter how good a map is, there can be no substitute for local knowledge, and we often found the best way to get from A to B, even if it meant going round by C, D and probably E as well, was to ask for advice.
You've got a nice arc along the bottom of there. and then cut up the hill.
Right.
That's it.
Thanks very much for that.
Yep.
Heading from Hoyt to Newcastleton, we went along the route of the old Waverley railway line. Trains haven't travelled along here since the lines were ripped up as part of the beaching cuts back in the 1960s. But campaigners have been fighting for years to have the line reinstated, and it seems they have won their case, for part of the way at least.
What's about the grass?
Well, one day the way might once again be clear through Whittrip Tunnel, but to us it was impassable. Fortunately there was another path, because we still had many miles to go before we slept that night, and another momentous day ahead of us.
They'll be crossing the border today into England, so it's our last night was our last night in Scotland.
Wonderful. And how was yesterday?
Yesterday was good. It was very long, so the horses are a bit tired. I think the clients are a bit tired. Didn't have any phone coverage, so it was a bit hard to get in contact with everyone and find out where we're supposed to be. But in the end, everyone was happy. The horses are happy. So.
Oh gosh, we went cross country part of the time on a railroad track, an old railroad track, and it was really pretty. Sometimes you got some really gorgeous views. Lots of sheep and cattle and birds of all kinds, and beautiful as always.
The ringmaster coordinating events here, allocating the horses for the day. And on, Gary, what are you up to?
I'm just doing a bit of grooming here.
All right, on your beard or on the horse's tail?
Do we both, I think. Do we both.
We were now deep in the heart of the debatable lands, territory where the clash of cold steel and the acrid stink of musket fire once dominated, where the reivers reigned supreme, bowing to no law but their own. If we'd been met by a welcoming party in those days, we'd have feared for our lives, and certainly for our horses. Thankfully, this welcoming party had a more peaceful purpose: to escort us into the village of Newcastleton, or Copshaw as it's known to all who live there. Built in 1793 by the Duke of Buccleuch as a centre for weavers, it's famous for its annual music festival, and becoming so for its common riding. Unique among the border towns, people here ride the marches by bike rather than by horse.
It's great Clydesdale migration. Thank you very, very much for the lovely welcome you've given us here in Newcastleton. It's very special to be here. Today's the day that we cross the border. So momentous. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Tub and the Cumbria Common Riding, I would like to welcome the West Highland Heavy Horses and their riders to Cumbria home. These are magnificent beasts, and the horses are tremendous too. We are sure you will find the village a friendly and hospitable place. Possibly too hospitable tonight.
And so on to the border. Time for a toast and perhaps a spot of mellow reflection.
Tim, the great Clydesdale migration has literally just crossed the border. How do you feel?
Elated in some ways, sad in others. Don't want to leave Scotland, really don't want to leave Scotland. It's been a marvellous place for 25 years for me. But we're moving on and we'll be back. I'm just so excited about our horses. They've just done so well on this ride. They've just brought us through. The horses have been the least of our problems. Really, they've just got such energy and stamina. We came out this morning from Newcastle. They just did not want to do anything but trot. They just wanted to get moving. It was really exciting.
Leaving Scotland had been sad, but the beauty of North Cumbria laid out in a panorama before us certainly helped to ease the pain of leaving. We got some funny looks from various animals along the way, especially this chap. The pigs seemed not to even notice us. But the hound was determined not to be left behind. Heading out from Talkenhead Farm at the start of the next leg and into an autumn landscape, the rich colours making a tapestry of North Cumbria. Clydesdale was once mining country. Understandably, it's now officially classed as an area of outstanding natural beauty and a special site of scientific interest. Covering more than 5,000 hectares, much of it owned by the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, it's also home to many different birds, including the extremely rare hen harrier.
Oh, the long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Lead me to your door. The wild and windy night that the rain washed away has left a pool of tears, crying for the day, while Lee is standing here. Let me know the way. Many times I've been alone, many times I've cried. Anyway, you'll never know the many ways I've standing here a long, long time ago. Don't leave me waiting here. Lead me to your...
We'd had an extra member of the party that day, a tag-along from Talkenhead Farm. Dana kindly gave him a lift home, though I don't think he really wanted to leave us.
He's been enjoying himself.
The rest of us repaired to a hospitable local hostelry for a welcome dram to complete the day. The send-off was thoroughly American, which was apt since we had several riders from the USA on that leg. However, the villages and countryside we rode through really couldn't have been anything but Cumbrian.
So here we are, reaching a rather significant milestone in the Great Clydesdale migration. This is the first day of the very last leg. Water.
However, if we'd expected a nice tranquil ride through gentle countryside, we were in for a shock. The path round Ullswater was anything but a stroll in the park. Not only were the rocks jagged and slippery, but there was a steep drop to one side.
Slip sliding away.
Once again we made it thanks to the stout hearts and courageous nature of the Clydesdales, even if they did give us the occasional heart-stopping moment.
I know a man. He came from my hometown. He wore his passion for his woman like a thorny crown.
Prince.
He said, Dolores, I live in fear. My love for you is so overpowering, I'm afraid that I will disappear. Slip sliding away. Slip sliding away.
Down, baby.
Slip sliding away. What a brave fella. I know a woman became a wife. These are the very words she uses to describe her life. She said a good day ain't got no one. She said our bad days when I lie in bed and think of things that might have been. Slip sliding away. Slip sliding away. You know the nearer your destination, the more you slip sliding away.
There we are, a little footprint of slippage. Could have been all the way down there. Each horse took the most nerve-wracking route right along that little edge there.
Kissed his boy as he lay sleeping, then he turned around and headed home again. He slip sliding away. You know the nearer your destination,
This was definitely the day I decided that if you're going to do something scary with a horse, make sure the horse is a Clydesdale. When you really need them to be strong, they just don't let you down.
The information's unavailable to the mortal man. We're working our jobs, collect our pay. Believe we're gliding down the highway when in fact we're slip sliding away. Slip sliding away. Slip sliding away.
We had thought the long haul up Kirkstone Pass might be a bit of a trial, but after our rocky walk round Ullswater, it proved no problem at all. 1,500 feet above sea level, bring it on. But we could still have a drink to celebrate. It was lovely to hear the church bells as we rode into Ambleside on a bright and beautiful day. It seemed Annie had a sixth sense when it came to choosing her days to lead the ride. She almost always got the sunshine. She certainly chose well on the Lake District leg, and could there possibly be a better way to see such glorious scenery than from the back of a Clydesdale?
we're on. Because it doesn't look like it.
Well, it's not this, is it?
No, definitely not.
Because that's far too easy.
Called itself public bridle to Little
Then
Langdale, I think.
this path here, it goes out past that field. This isn't it.
Well, that's all colour there. And the other shoes, we just come from here.
Right, this is a pretty nice path across here, actually.
Alas, the sunshine didn't last. Next day, as we headed up and up and up, we were back in the thick of the mist.
Hey Tim, any thoughts on the highest point in the ride?
Yes, the highest point of the ride is a good place to be. We're going to get out of it as quick as we can.
We all felt we'd achieved something special that day. And if you'd asked any one of us, would you rather be in a nice warm office? The answer would have been a resounding no. We were also quietly convinced that beautiful burst of sunlight through the murk was a reward for our endeavours.
Whenever God shine a light on me, open up my eyes so I can see. When I look up in the darkest night, then I know everything is gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair.
And so we came to the very last day of the migration.
Been meaning to do that all trip.
When I am lonely as I can be, and I know that God shines His light on me. Reach out for Him, reach out for Him. He'll be there, He'll be there. Within your troubles, within your troubles, you can share, you can share. If you live, if you live, life you love, life you love, you get the blessing, yeah, from above, from above. He'll be there, right?
Yeah, so it is rotating.
A day for fun and laughter and joy for a job well done. But a day too for a little bit of sadness because our great adventure was at an end. The horses had reached their new home at Chappels Farm. Our job was done.
Add another toast to that. 12 inspirational horses and 2 inspirational people.
Here, here.
And so the great Clydesdale migration came to an end. But as one door closed, countless more swung open.
Glasses up, cheers.
What does the future hold here at Chappels Farm?
Oh, well, lots and lots of interesting ideas coming up at the moment.
You could run out of film footage for this.
We're very devoted to the idea of doing some more long rides. The long rides, well, that ride was so much fun. We've got to have a firm base to work from, and this is the place. It's definitely
fantastic.
got lots going for it.
We want to do the long distance rides, 5-day rides around the Lake District.
Yeah.
Just going from starting here maybe on a Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday away, and coming back on the Friday. Manchester Castle rides down to the beach.
Redeveloping the carriage driving, and also
I'm quite excited about
the
that.
thought, the possibility of disabled driving people. Actually set ourselves up so that people with a carriage that wheelchairs can go onto. And
I'm really keen on that. And certainly Clydesdales are no good for riding for the disabled, just in terms of the size. The temperament's brilliant, but the size is not. And to be able to let people who have a disability drive would be a wonderful one. I'd love to put something back into people's lives with horses to enable them to spend time with them. And certainly we've got some good driving horses, and the tracks around here would lend themselves to that. So we're quite keen. The toilet we're putting in at the moment, not that I want to talk about the toilets, but it's going to be disabled, so that we've got complete disabled access all the way through, and hopefully it'll encourage folk who'd love to have more to do with horses can come and learn to drive, as well as able-bodied people, obviously. We're quite keen on doing weddings at Manchester. They've shown interest. The school. We hope to put in a big school.
But just really an excellent base to show off
what
Clydesdales and heavy horses.
I mean, you know me, I want to build a cross-country Clydesdale course so that we can thunder around the countryside. You keen?
We've got a magnificent beach to show off what a Clydesdale can do.
I'm
Let it loose.
We'd like to run Clydesdale riding open days, or heavy horse riding open days. Oh, we're buzzing with ideas. Just buzzing.
Like the real thing.
So, galloping off into the sunset? Well, not exactly. The Great Clydesdale migration may be over, but for the brand new Cumbria Heavy Horse Centre, the adventure is just beginning.
Same dancers in the same old shoes. Some habits that you just can't lose. There's no telling what a man might use after the thrill is gone. Empty pages and a frozen pen. You're not quite lovers and you're not quite friends after the thrill is gone. So you keep on singing for the sake of the song after the thrill is gone.
Now, part of the pleasure of being on a ride like the Clydesdale Migration is interacting with the locals, which is just what Benny Dog's been doing right here. Fancies himself as a bit of a hunter, does our Benny. Look, there he goes. of you have any worries about the maltreatment of women on the Clydesdale migration, proof that teamwork is evident everywhere.
That was perfect time. As soon as I turned his ass to the camera, I shit.